Okay, let's try this again, but say something like shorter.
John's dead.
He's dead in LA, presenting at the Crunchyroll Awards.
Do you like our fake out there?
Yeah. Welcome to episode 69, the dirty episode. Me and Eve are going to go wild all over this podcast.
And by wild, we mean we're going to talk very sincerely about things and drink wine.
Maybe John might record a tiny bit of audio that he'd be like, hey, can you put this in at the end of the episode just so it feels like I was there? We will not use that because this isn't a John-free episode. It's a John-free zone. Oh, it's weird without John, but it's okay. We have to move on. He's dead. It's fine. No, look, we have to drink more wine.
Yeah.
Is this how it is? We have a teddy here beside us that is here to simulate the presence of John. It looks pissed off. That's usually how John looks anyway.
So John would say, moving swiftly along.
Yeah, moving swiftly, moving. Niamh, can you tell us about the Han Solo trailer? Solo, a Star Wars film. Is that what it's called?
Did you watch that trailer?
Yeah, it looks better than I thought it would. Mm-hmm. They built some sets. That's okay. Is that definitely a Star Wars film?
It looks so grey, doesn't it?
It looks like a fan movie that Richie from Happy Days directed, I guess. Is that definitely a real Star Wars movie?
It seems like even after we saw this trailer, there was a bunch of announcements of the Game of Thrones guys, and we know Rian Johnson's is doing a trilogy as well.
Yeah.
They're farming Star Wars out. We're going to get Star Wars until we die.
Yeah.
And like, part of me, the Star Wars part of me is like, that's great. And then the part of me that actually cares that things are done well and have meaning is like, it'll never be the same again.
No, it won't. It's going to lose a lot of its uniqueness and...
Maybe we're being harsh, but I feel like the Solo trailer was kind of like a, oh no.
Yeah, this is a lull in the kind of bigger waves. Like, you know how with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you kind of get like medium tier movies like Ant-Man and stuff like that. And like, I like Ant-Man, but that's kind of like, yeah, there it is. It's there in the chronology of the list of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. But then you get like something like Thor Ragnarok, which is like better than most. So that's kind of a peak. Yeah, it didn't look interesting. It showed them doing the Kessel Run, and there was an octopus, space alien waving tentacles around them. I thought Donald Glover's costume looked nice. Yeah,
I think everything I saw was just compliments about how Donald Glover looks amazing, which he does.
Yeah.
But it looks so grey. I'm so depressed that's the palette we're going for here.
Yeah, they barely showed Han Solo as well. Like, you don't really get like a proper look at him. You get like glimpses of him, but they didn't really like hold the camera on him and make him like say a whole sentence.
I think that's because this actor is really badly cast.
Yeah, he's not good.
I don't think he's any charm. There was a moment in the trailer, and Kira, I guess is the girl's name.
Daenerys' character.
Yeah. She's like, I might be the only one who knows who you truly are. And then he goes, huh, what's that? And then it cuts to the title card of Solo, and it did not work at all. What does it mean? She knows he's Solo? It was just, it was such a strange trailer cut.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I expected it to cut back and have her say, an asshole. Just to kind of give a bit of levity to this really self-serious trailer.
That sounds like you would do a better job at the marketing department than they would. That's pretty good. I like that.
Well, yeah, but that's like the whole charm of Han Solo is that he's cheeky and cocky, and there's like, and it's not that he's like this opens with a monologue of him being like, got kicked out of flight school. It's like, that's okay.
He should already be like a complete rogue.
Yeah.
I assumed that like he was always like that from like the age of like 5.
Yeah, that Han Solo is just this cool like guy. He didn't get there. I feel like he was just naturally cool.
Yeah, he could handle a lot of dumb situations and be a bollocks about it, but get away too.
And like, I know it's just a trailer, but right now the characterization of Han just seems like, or maybe it's just the actor, he just doesn't seem to have the like same appeal as Harrison Ford. And I know that's a hard thing to live up to, but...
Yeah. Did you see Hail Caesar?
Is that the Coen's brother movie?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
So that actor is in it. I can't remember what his name is. Aldrin Aldrich or something like that.
Yeah.
He's got a almost name like that. But in that he plays like a cowboy western film actor from like the John Wayne or like pre-John Wayne. But he's brilliant in that because he's just playing like a dumbass that doesn't know how to act but is real good at like lassoing and riding a horse.
Okay.
So for him to kind of like deliver charismatic lines, I don't see that working. And there's all these rumors that they had to hire an acting coach and he couldn't improv with Lord and Miller's script or anything like that, whereas Donald Glover can because he's a professional comedian. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't do timing.
That really comes across. I'm like, okay, like totally early days, and I will gladly eat my words because it's a Star Wars like movie. But like, this is the first time I've seen a trailer and not been like, fucking yeah.
Yeah, like you know when you see the Rogue One trailer and you know it's like separate to the current trilogy, but you look at it and you go, this is the same production design and level of quality.
In that Rogue One trailer, and this shot wasn't actually in the film, so it was really annoying. But there is like a scene of just walking through water and the cape just like capturing it. And I feel like in Solo, there's a scene that's trying to capture that cool cape moment. And it's Kira coming out wearing a giant cape. And it's like, I think it's red and white. But then she has rockabilly hair. And it just does not go at all. Why is there a rockabilly hairstyle like in the Star Wars universe? It looks so weird. 2
directors. One who was on Happy Days. That's it.
It's such an old sensibility, and I guess they're going for that whole like slick charm with Solo, but it's not coming across.
Yeah, it's cool that they show the Falcon and it's all like clean and white.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of neat. Like it's definitely a different era, and I wonder does Emilia Clarke's character know Padme, or are they from that same world?
Maybe.
They're probably about the same age.
How much linking do you think they're going to do with these?
They'll have to do a little bit.
Yeah. Well, like Rogue One can be taken so out of context. Like, I mean, it obviously fits in, but it's like so separate from the main lines.
Yeah, I think this will be more separate, but it'll have like really obvious nods, and they'll hold the camera on it and everything. Be like, huh? Did you see what we did there? Okay, my turn. I am going to talk about The Good Place.
Oh, yay.
Do you remember a couple of weeks ago when you were both talking about The Good Place and you really, really enjoyed it, mm-hmm. and John completely dismissed it?
He hates it.
Yeah, and he'd watched about 3 episodes and you were just starting season 2. Mm-hmm. And I said, I will watch it too and I will get back to you on it. I have watched all of season 1 and I've watched the first 3 episodes of season 2.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, I think it's a good show.
Yay.
Now, I don't think it's a great show. I rank it somewhere along the lines of something like Community, where it's a show that I like and it has a dedicated fan base, but I'm not part of that fan base.
But I think you could be, Brian. It's so good.
I don't think so. I really, really like Michael Schur. I didn't realize Michael Schur created this show. And he co-created Parks and Rec, and he did Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And he was Cousin Moe's in the US Office. So he's got a huge history in TV comedy. And he's kind of shaped a lot of TV comedy from the last 10 years, which is super cool.
And I think this is his comedy masterpiece.
Yeah, like it's definitely a response to a lot of the more recent comedy shows because it's not a mockumentary show. It's shot single camera, but then it uses a very small cast and has great set design as well. Like there are really, really nice individual things about the show. I only like 50% of the cast. The other 50% I don't like.
What does that mean? Who do you not like?
I don't like Janet.
Brian, that is a wrong opinion. That's terrible. Janet's the best.
No, Tahani's the best.
No, okay, I love Tahani, but like Janet's really good.
Sure.
Has she been turned off yet?
Oh yeah, a bunch of times.
Dude, that's so good. That's so funny.
I like the show is funny, but it's not laugh out loud funny. Like for me, Parks and Rec made me laugh out loud, or made me like quote it in the shower, or like think about it. Like with this, I'm folding laundry while watching it, and like I am having a great time. And I do think that if you're looking for something to watch, it's on Netflix. Like I recommend it, but I can't be like, guys, go watch it. Like I wouldn't buy fan art of this.
Oh my god, I'm so the opposite. I think it's so amazing.
Yeah. No, like it is good, and it's got a continuous narrative, so you have to watch it in order.
Yeah.
Like it's not a thing where you can miss an episode and then watch it. Like it's not like a regular sitcom where they just reset button.
It's a journey.
And it's got like commentary on reset button stuff and the whole double standards of all the characters.
I just really like how they will destroy an area. They'll be just like, we are leaving this area and we're going to go to a different set. Because like with sitcoms, stuff becomes ubiquitous with this with the sitcom. So Friends, you got Central Perk and you've got the apartment.
Yeah, they have to keep writing into that location.
Yeah, you have like 2 max locations, and that's because it's expensive. With this, because they can use CG, and maybe there's more money behind it, but they just do not care about having a home base. It always feels like the characters are trying to move forward, and I think that's an interesting thing to have with comedy. Maybe they're trying to move like forward with their lives, but they're very like Will and Grace are stuck in Will's apartment forever. They will die there, you know.
yeah, I know what you mean. No, I really do like the set design, and they do a great job at like making it look like the Good Place is quite a well-established location, and it feels like Main Street USA and Disneyland, and I love Disneyland, so I totally got that vibe right away. And they have all the fake shop fronts, which is just like Disneyland. Like they had one in Disneyland where it's a fake shop front, but you go in and it's a Starbucks, and you're like, oh,
I was tricked into thinking this was nice.
Yeah, I thought this was a special cafe, but it's a Starbucks, but it's just disguised. But I can actually see the tiny little Starbucks logo in the window now. Yeah, I think Michael Schur made a cool show, and he's in like every episode of the show, because you know the way in Ted Danson's office they have the photograph of the guy. Mm-hmm. That's a high school photo of the creator of the show.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure that's what he looked. I'm pretty sure that's the same person, because I've seen what he looks like now, and when I look at that photo, I'm like, that's just him as like a 17-year-old.
You know where there's just one of those jokes that it goes directly over your head, and you're just like, I guess I'm missing a reference here. That was that. Once they showed that picture, I was like, no idea who that is.
Yeah, no, I really think there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Like, I would definitely watch a big cast interview where they're all up on stage and they each have a microphone and they just make fun of each other, because it seems like they're having a great time.
Yeah, I just also like the that the point of the show is about trying to be good. Like that's a nice concept.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah.
But also try to be sneaky, because I like sneaky shows. Because
yeah.
I really like shows that have like cat and mouse storylines to it, or someone knows some information and that information is so valuable and they have to keep it precious to them.
That's like the most stressful storyline ever.
I really like that show. That's like I still watch Homeland because of that. Especially like mid-season Homeland, when you know when we know what's going to happen, and you have all these like different like characters running in these lines, and you know which lines are going to intersect at some points, and someone's going to get shot. Are you watching Homeland? Are you still watching that show?
No, I like that got too real for me.
It's on season 7 now, and in last night's episode, Claire Danes' character beat up a 4chan troll.
Oh,
it was so funny because she goes on 4chan to try and ID a mysterious person who's aiding the White House, because 4chan has turned like anti-White House. We're like, it's always been 50-50, but in this like version of 2018, they're a super anti-White House. So she goes on 4chan, and like she actually goes on 4chan, and they have it, and it's filmed. It doesn't look like fake book. It's like it's real. It's a real 4chan.
That's cool.
And the hacker 4chan like freezes her computer and holds it hostage for $5,000.
Was she just like, I wanted her to be like totally pissed off on her laptop, being like, you fucking little weird troll.
No, she is. But then later on, like you hear the garble voice, and he's like, take off your clothes. and she does it a tiny bit, but then she goes, you have to meet up with me in person. And she starts doing the Claire Danes' eyes thing, you know, where her eyes get super big. And then she meets him in a warehouse, and like the lamest looking dude comes out. He's like this big, tall, like skinny, creepy pencil. And he goes over to her, and he's like smelling her and rubbing her.
What?
And
how did he get so that close?
Because she's like, come over to me. And then she like she like bangs her head against his nose and breaks his nose, and then takes out a baton and starts breaking his legs. and then she gets his laptop, and she goes, get rid of the malware on my computer right now. And like he has to like type it with one broken finger, but she's filming the whole time, and he's crying. And then she goes, I own you. And then she chokes him, but she nearly kills him, and she wants to, but then she doesn't. And then she walks away with his laptop, and that's how the episode ends.
Oh fuck!
It was so dumb, but I loved it.
That's so good. That's so good. That feels cathartic.
Yeah, but like it was really, really like cringy as well at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I think that show did get kind of. I think any show that's like long running. Yeah. So I think Back to the Good Place. I think if they wrapped it up in the third season, that'd be like such a nice self-contained thing, and people would always want more, but they won't get any. Then our final thing is something that we've both seen. I think we both really, really liked. That's Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water. I saw this on Valentine's Day as a movie date with my girlfriend Rebecca, and we had a brilliant time.
That's a really good Valentine's Day movie.
Yeah, I'm so glad it came out on Valentine's Day. Like that's really nice. I love that. I love the set design. I love that it feels like you're watching a illustrated story, like kind of like a picture book. But like it's deep, like very dark and twisted, but it's for a sensible adult audience. It's not dumbing any, like it's not treating you like a child or anything. Because there is like very like just adult mundane stuff in it, like her whole wake up routine that's established in the first 5 minutes was brilliant.
I love that wake up routine because everything you see later on in the movie is established in that one scene.
Yeah, absolutely. I was watching it, and it's something that I always kind of have like a struggle with TV show characters versus movie characters. And that with TV show characters, you get a lot of time to get familiar with the characters and you get used to their behavior and their patterns. But with a movie, if you have a protagonist, it's really important in the first like 5 or 10 minutes to really kind of like tell and sell the audience this character. And they do such a great job with Sally Hawkins' character. So for the rest of the movie, you're just rooting for her.
It's like, I think what lends to that as well is just the depth of set dressing that Del Toro does. Really, like, you don't get to know everything you want about her like verbally, but you can see so much.
Yeah.
So you've such a visual shorthand for knowing these characters straight away. You see the apartment of Giles, and he's a poster painter.
Yeah.
And he's painting a Jello, and he has a little reference photo of a Jello stuck to his artboard, and it's just like, yes, he would need that. And that's such a, when you see a painter in a film, they're just like, here's my painting, and there's no like paintbrushes around or any like art materials around, and you're like, how did this just form? Yeah,
it feels way more authentic.
It seems authentic and lived in. It's cool. It's a cool world. But it's so, we get such a sense of her routine in just such an opening moment. And it just primes you for the whole movie. Yeah,
and so it takes place, it doesn't really outright say, but it does take place in the 60s. And that was a really, 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 really shitty time in America. Mm-hmm. So I do think it's interesting that like her two best friends and the people that talk to her the most are a black woman and an older gay man. They have most of the dialogue in this film. And they're like the two people that she kind of confide and trust with the most. And they're both brilliant characters that I just really love the dynamic of all of them working together. Mm-hmm. And even when the two of them have to kind of communicate with each other to help out Sally. I can't remember her character's name.
Eliza.
Because there are some nice moments that the whole film doesn't completely revolve around her all the time. That it'll go to other characters for a while.
I think it's even less about her and like the fish guy. It's more about like the characters around her and just like it's about other people's otherness. Yeah,
I think one of my favorite scenes in the whole film is where Richard Jenkins, he plays the older gay man, the neighbor, but he goes back to the pie diner. Mm-hmm. And he starts chatting with the guy behind the counter, and they kind of get to know each other a bit more. And he puts his hand on his hand, and the diner guy like pulls his hand away and just like completely snaps at him. But then a black couple come in and he tells them that all those seats are unavailable to them, and the scene just completely changes in like 5 seconds.
And the way Giles reacts to it, he just like he's been buying pie just to spend time with this character.
Yeah.
He just stops eating the pie and he wipes his tongue. He's just so disgusted by him that like he just wipes his like literal tongue.
Do you want to talk about the fish man himself?
Yeah.
It's cool that he has like a backstory and everything. Because I thought they like, okay, he's very mysterious, but they have like 2 sentences that you need to know about him, and then you can kind of fill in all the blanks. And he's played by Doug Jones, who's one of my favorites for kind of sci-fi and fantasy movies. he's in loads of Guillermo del Toro films anyway. He plays the Pale Man and the Faun in Pan's Labyrinth, and he plays Abe Sapien in the Hellboy movies, and he played the main gentleman in the all-silent episode of Buffy. I think he's really, really cool whenever he's in prosthetics or in makeup, because he's a big, tall contortionist, and he's just real comfortable being in like a full-body 5-hour makeup suit, and he can just act for an hour and not like lose focus at all. I think for that costume, he couldn't see out the mask at all, and he's being fed everything through an earpiece.
That's amazing. He acts with so much emotion.
Yeah, and I think the way they did his makeup and CGI is that like his body is all makeup, but then the eyes are done CGI. Like I think they have it there as a reference, but they kind of add on top of it just doing CGI in some of the glowing scenes. And I really like how when he's out of the water, he's kind of I don't know, like he's kind of uncoordinated, and he kind of moves like a chimpanzee almost. But then when you see him in the water, he's just like, oh my god,
he's super elegant.
He's so hot. Like I could see why.
I can't say I would.
Nice honk. Yeah, and it's definitely a romantic film, which is really, really sweet, and and they take their time with that part of the story, and I thought it was really, really, really sweet. And then you have a cool villain as well, played by Michael Shannon, who's just like this fucking G-man.
He's such a good actor. He's so intense. Yeah,
and like the whole thing with him and his fingers, because there's a character who's like that in Pan's Labyrinth as well, who's the stepfather, who's an army general. I think that's his rank. But like, yeah, like he's very high ranking. But there's a bit towards the end of that film where he gets shot in the cheek, and he has to like stitch up his cheek, and like the camera doesn't cut away during it, and you just have to suffer with him. But Del Toro does that again with Michael Shannon's character.
Del Toro likes to punish his bad characters. Like, they're usually dealing with something horrible throughout the film. All his scenes with him and his wife and kids were really, really intense. He was like... he's just such a scary guy, even when he's not being scary.
Yeah.
I'm glad she had such good friends.
Me too. I think that's... Yeah, it's more of a film about companionship and friendship.
Yeah.
Than outright romance, which is really, really nice. It's a very loving film.
It really is. And there's like, when there's moments of like not love, it's expressed so clearly, and it's like, it makes those ones of love kind of so...
Yeah. Okay. Niamh, do you want to move on to our strategy talk? I have a bunch of games, and then you have one life-consuming game here.
Yeah.
I played back-to-back. I played Shadow of Colossus on the PS4, and then I played RiME, which is on PS Plus for the PS4. And they're very, very similar games in some ways, but I'll just talk about Shadow of Colossus first. This is the first time I played it since the PS2, and I'm a huge fan of Team Ico and Fumito Ueda. I love Ico, his first game. That's my favorite PS2 game. And I thought Shadow of Colossus is fantastic. It's a very important game. It's the game that ruined Zelda, because it nails hero on a horse going an adventure so much better than any Zelda game has ever done. Up until about Breath of the Wild, where you could see that they've studied Shadow of Colossus and gone, oh yeah, no, it needs like these quiet moments. It needs just bits of discovery and not like secondary characters constantly telling you where to go. I didn't realize when this was announced, because it was announced at E3, that it was from like built from the ground up remake. I just thought it was another port to 1080p, because to me, I always thought the world looked that detailed and had that level of polish to it. But then I saw it back to back with the original version, and I was like, oh, they made all of this from scratch and redid all the animations based on the original game and completely rethought certain areas so that there's all these light shafts and there's these hills and mounds of grass, and it's a much more beautiful world.
Is it like a definitive version of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. I'm really, really glad I got to play this. It took me like 6 hours to beat. And I'd say about an hour of that was just like I would go to each Colossus, but usually like every 15-20 minutes I would just stop and dick around because I saw some area that I liked and I would take some photos, because the game really, really, really does encourage you to take photos. I think it's one of my favorite PS4 games, and I think if you never played this game, I highly recommend it. If you can get it for under like 30 quid, like you could beat it in 6 hours and then you can lend it to a friend.
I wasn't going to play this game because I played the PlayStation 2 version, so it's kind of like, yeah, I know what that's about. But you think it's worth it?
I think it's worth it. The one thing I like about Ueda's games is that, okay, they're super mysterious and ambiguous, but he actually does take time at the start and at the end to have like very, very long cutscenes that tell you what the game is actually about. So they are mysterious, but if you wanted to like describe what actually happens in those games, you can, because they have a setup and then they have the actual game and then they have a payoff with the end cutscene, and they take their time building that world and establishing a bunch of stuff.
Who was your favorite Colossus in it?
I don't know if I have like an ultimate favorite. I do love the first bird that you fight. Well, I guess like, yeah, the bird that's in the lake. I love the music that goes with that boss as well. And he glides down and you have to jump onto his wing. Love that fight. I love the one as well where he has like teeth on top of his head. He's also in the lake. And you have to bang his teeth so that he goes over to a piece of architecture that then you jump onto, and then he jumps and then he climbs up on top of it, which gives you a chance to attack his exposed like soft bit. That's a weak spot.
Do you ever feel bad killing them?
Oh yeah.
It's such a like weird game where you're totally meant to feel guilt for doing it, but the only way to progress is to keep going.
Yeah. Like sometimes they attack you. Like I really like the two small colossi. They're about the size of like a rhino or an elephant. Like they're pretty small and they're very fast. I love those two fights because like it seems like the big ones are just kind of ignoring you, but those guys, like, it definitely feels more personal because they can like actually catch up to you and focus on you. So that was the only time I didn't feel bad about killing them, because they had a problem with me.
What, like, I always struggled with finding like why I'm struggling with this with Monster Hunter as well. So it's like, why am I killing you? It's the whole cycle of Monster Hunter.
Do you want to talk about Monster Hunter? Is it getting you down?
No, I've just very much decided that I'm going to put maybe 80 to 100 hours into this game and then like never play it again. Like just bow out, because nothing good can come from it.
No.
It's like I'm not learning anything like in terms of, there's no reason why. And like are you playing with other people online? Is that nice? That's like, I actually played with a listener of Let's Fight a Boss. And it was really fun because like playing with someone did make the whole experience a bit better, and I could trap monsters as well, so it felt like less horrible. We were still like kicking the shit out of them and then finally trapping them, but it felt less pointless, and you actually get more materials out of them if you hunt them, if you trap them instead of just hunt them. Yeah, because you're using more parts of the monster, I guess. Yeah, you're not wasting them. It's just I don't know. There's just like, I never feel good. Like I feel like I can pay like 6 hours of it and then like, did I have a good time? I don't think so. I don't think I did at all. It's the same Destiny 1 feeling. So I'm kind of like, I'm going to get out. I'm going to put my time in because I enjoy it. I've got my like Legiana set of armor, and I've got my Anjanant set, and I've got all my weapons from them, and I'm looking cool and stuff. But to what end? To what end? To, like, I get my fire armor, I get my earth armor, I get my ice armor, I get my water armor. Then I'm really, really good at killing anything that could, launch those at me, and then I kill them, and then I get more armor. So yeah, like you keep going upwards, but what's at the top? What's at the top is another monster that I'm more equipped to kill. I guess that actually does bother me enough that I feel worse about playing Monster Hunter than I do playing Destiny. The only enemies in Monster Hunter AI. Yeah. See, like, because with Destiny,
there is AI, but then you can also just play against other humans.
Yeah.
And there's a skill to that too.
I actually like the Crucible the most in Destiny, which is where you play against other people. So I do feel like, yeah, there's kind of like that competitive part of this. But with this, yeah, it's just like you're killing just the monsters all the time. And like they get so super strong and you have to really consider everything you're doing. And like you really have to, like, I've seen amazing videos of people do amazing things. But I don't know why you bother.
Yeah, because there's nothing at the end except another monster.
Yeah.
Is there any, like, have you beaten the story mode?
I'm going through the story, but the story's nothing. Like, I fought a Legiana before I got to the cutscene that told me about the Legiana, and they were like, oh no, Legiana, it's crazy. And I was just like, part of me was actually like, this looks too pretty for me to kill. And then you see it once and you're in awe. Then you see it twice and you're like, okay, I'm going to kill it. Then 3 times, you're just farming it. So even all the magic of the cool animation and the cool design is gone because you're just farming it over and over and over again. And it's just like, you're nothing to me. You're something I beat to death every few minutes. I can kill you. I've got it down that I can kill you in 15 minutes. So I can get, like, 4 of you in an hour, and then I can have my armor set. And that's what it starts becoming, is like, how fast and how quickly can I get my drops out of you to make more armor?
That's not good.
Yeah.
Although some people love that, but
no, they do. Like, if you want a carrot on a stick game, this is a really cool, good carrot on a stick game. But like,
it's a beautiful carrot.
I think I've figured out with myself that I don't get a lot out of those emotionally.
No.
Okay,
RiME. That game got to me. I think, I think a lot of our listeners are on PS Plus. I recommend checking out RiME. It's not a big game to download. Like, the other game is Knack, and that is 35 gigabytes to download. And I've downloaded Knack. I haven't started yet, but I'm gonna fucking play a bit of Knack just to see what that launch title piece of shit is really like. Because I played a demo of it once and I thought it fucking sucked. But I'm gonna sit down and play like 2 or 3 hours of Knack just to know.
You should.
But I played RiME, and RiME is clear. Okay, so it's made by a Spanish development studio called Tequila Works, and they're really, like, I thought they did a great job. They're very much borrowing from other games that exist, including the Ico games, but also like Wind Waker and a few others. But what this game felt to me was, it was like a HD version of a GameCube game or PS2 game that was never made.
Okay.
It felt like a throwback to that era. Like, you know how like stuff like Yooka-Laylee and all that feel like throwbacks to platformers on the N64 and a bit in the PS1, but more so the N64. This very much feels like a very weird second-party GameCube game. And
visually or just gameplay-wise?
Both, yeah. The first area you show up on is a beach, and you're just playing as a little boy and you have to solve puzzles. I thought that was only alright. And I kind of got the hang of it. There was certain areas where I was solving puzzles and I was like, oh, these are just collectibles, because the game has a shit ton of collectibles for just to replay, because the game isn't that long. It's about 4 or 5 hours long. It's like an hour or two shorter than Shadow Colossus. But the game's broken into 4 different areas, and afterwards, when you kind of learn the names of those chapters and you piece together the start, some of the cutscenes that happen throughout, and then the final cutscene, you kind of learn what the story is about. Because I think that's the one big difference between this and Shadow Colossus, is that RiME doesn't tell you anything, so you have to play the game to find out what's happening. Whereas with Shadow Colossus, you kind of know what's happening, and same with Ico and Last Guardian, that you've got a bit of context to your motivation, but with this you don't know your motivation while you're exploring an island. But you solve the island area, and then you end up into, and it's kind of done in like a Mediterranean, ancient Greek, like kind of very polished white architecture style of this established city. The second area is kind of a city that has been destroyed, but there is a very mean bird. And it does that thing where it shows you the puzzle right away and you know how to solve the puzzle, but the bird interrupts the puzzle.
That's really annoying. Do you kill the bird?
Yeah,
Is
but
the puzzle.
the bird taunts you for the whole area of that game, and you know, and like it's very easy to get to one place and the other, but if you are out exposed for more than 5 seconds, the bird will swoop down and attack you. And that's kind of when I started getting into the game, and I was like, okay, this is changing gears. This is a bit different. But then the third area, you're in a dungeon labyrinth that is kind of like you're inside an ancient Colosseum. Well, like it's just a big labyrinth, but it's all overgrown with flowers, and it has these weird ancient guardians that get activated. But at the start of it, you're in an impossible space that you have to navigate, and you'll turn around the corner and you'll end up exactly where you started.
That's cool.
And so part of it is figuring that out, but then as you go along, you realize that you're just going through probably one of the best Zelda dungeons of the last 10 years. And you get to the top, very, very end of the dungeon, activate something, and then you retrace your steps with a new ability, and it changes the formula of it. And that's something that's been done in some Zelda dungeons, but I think of the more recent Zelda games, the dungeons have been the weakest part of them, especially Breath of the Wild. Those dungeons suck. The ones that are in Skyward Sword aren't very... they're very uneventful. And about half of the ones in Twilight Princess are like pretty good. The other half aren't as good. They're very forgetful. But this felt like a very... I think if this part of the game was in a Zelda game, it would be like a big deal. Because it's done super well. And then the final area is probably the shortest part of the game, but that's part of the story at that point. But I really, really got what they were going for, and I love father-son stories, and this is a very good father-son story.
How long is it?
4 hours.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, and then I really enjoyed it, and then I started reading reviews, got loads of 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. People were just like being very dismissive of it, and I was like, that's okay, yeah, it's got some unoriginal bits to it, but then it has heart as well. I think people were being a bit too hard on it, but it's just really cool for them to just go, okay, we really, really like these games, and they just had a big list, and they kind of picked their favorite bits and pieces from these games, and they did their own version of it, and some parts are more successful than others, but the bits that are good really, really stand out and outmatch a lot of what the games that they're attributing do now, which is very interesting.
It looks really pretty.
Yeah, I'd really like to see these guys design a Zelda game. Like, you know how that Metroid remake on the 3DS that came out last year, that was also done by a Spanish studio that had done the Castlevania games on the 3DS, and they just handed the reins to another studio, and they were like, okay, you guys like Castlevania games, how about you, or Metroidvania games, would you like to do a Metroid game? And they did, and they did a fantastic job. So I'd love to see like someone like Tequila Works get a chance to work on maybe a smaller tier Zelda game or something exclusive on the Switch that then Nintendo could kind of promote internally, similar to how they do with Retro Studios and a few of the other second party games. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to see what they make next. Cool. I think everyone should give this game a chance.
It's free, so
yeah.
If you have PSN, go get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I started Bayonetta on the Switch, but I'm only at the very beginning.
So this is the 2-pack one?
Yeah. It comes with Bayonetta 2 on card, and then it comes with a download code for the first Bayonetta. But I'm going to play Bayonetta 1 and then 2. And I haven't played Bayonetta 1 since 8 years ago when it came out in January 2010. And that game's aged.
Yeah, I can't believe it's 8 years.
Yeah, but there are so many weird bits because I'm only in the first hour, but it takes ages to get going, but it's kind of funny how they do it, where it shows a flashback of Bayonetta and Jean fighting on a clock tower falling through the sky. Then it's got a bunch of weird cutscenes that are done like semi-animated, but also kind of done in like a slideshow frozen time presentation. Then it shows her fighting a bunch of angels in a graveyard, and it has all the credits of like the main staff and the director and all that. But then it isn't until later on that she goes to Europe, and it's just like Japan's version of Europe, and it's just like nondescript Italy, Austria train station, and it just shows her on a train, and it's just this really strange looking woman using a train like we normal people use, and she's just eating a lollipop, and the train pulls into the train station, and she gets up, turns, and she walks through the Bayonetta logo. And you're like, oh yeah, they haven't shown the logo for the game yet. And then, like, that's the first time you really get to, like, control her in an area where you're not fighting all the time. And you're like, yeah, Devil May Cry.
Do you get to explore much with her, or is it just, like, fight to fight kind of thing?
There are bits where you explore, and you just get to, like, break potted plants and benches and stuff. And you get, like, halos, but the halos are just sonic rings.
Can you talk to NPCs or anything?
Some of them, yeah. You can read signs, but you're in, like, your own version of, like... She's in, like... I don't know, I think it's called Purgatory, but she can, like, go between, like, different realms. So there's ghosts. There's, like, kind of outlines of people, so she passes through them. Mm. But when she passes through them, the NPCs kind of react like they felt like a ghost going through them.
That's cool.
But then...
Does she live in this purgatory middle world all the time?
Not all the time.
Okay.
Like she lives in the regular world, but she can just enter it whenever she wants.
And does her girlfriend live in that middle world as well?
Yeah. So like the first time you meet Jean, because the way you're introduced to Bayonetta is she's only been Bayonetta for 20 years because she was locked underwater in a casket and she has amnesia, but she knows that she's a witch and she likes fighting, but she hasn't met another witch until she meets Jean, and her whole like reaction to Jean is just, oh, hello, and then they fight back to back, but then before she gets to ask her who she is, Jean's gone. And that's their whole storyline for the first game, but then the second game they're besties.
This is like a Leon Ada Wong situation.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And these games are fucking ridiculous and have not aged well. Visually, they have not aged well.
Does it not look good on Switch?
Nah, like it looks like a 360 game.
Did they not do anything for this re-release, or did they just put it out again?
If they did, I don't notice anything.
Oh, okay. Is this like a full price game?
I know with Bayonetta 2, that's a better looking game.
Yeah.
That's a more polished game because they've got the assets from Bayonetta 1, but they've optimized it way better. And you can see more textures. And I know a lot of people do like technical breakdowns of Bayonetta 2 rather than Bayonetta 1. I think Bayonetta 1 is a very basic port, and I think it's not that good. But I know like I actually way prefer Bayonetta 2 to Bayonetta 1. I like both of those games, but Bayonetta 2 is definitely the better one. It's got better songs in it. It's got better set pieces, and I like her more with short hair. I prefer her design in the second one.
Cool.
I just think Bayonetta is a strange woman. If I was walking down the street and I saw her walking towards me, I wouldn't even like run away, because if I run, she'd chase me. I would just like, I would curl into a ball and lie on the ground, and she'd just be like, pathetic, and just walk over me.
What does she do all day? Does she just fight all day?
Yeah. She has to fight angels every day.
That's her job.
Because they're constantly on the hunt for her, and she loves it.
It's like Madoka, but she's into killing things all the time.
Yeah, no, she's having a great time. And like shitty stuff will happen to her, and she'll just be kind of like, oh, that's not very nice of you. But she's never like really, really upset. And yeah, like those games are ridiculous. Between Bayonetta 1 and Bayonetta 2, that has one of the best time traveling stories in most fiction. It's as good as like the Back to the Future, like you know how in the middle Back to the Future 2 there's some great like callbacks, and they show stuff from the first film but from a different angle, and it's very, very clever how it's done. So in the second Bayonetta, they have cutscenes from the first game, but they show it from a different perspective.
Oh, cool. So if you were going into Bayonetta, it's kind of, you'll have a better time if you play the first game. Yeah.
They are complementary games, and that's why I'm so excited for Bayonetta 3, because I hope they kind of continue it all together. Like I hope there's more of it. But so far, what they've shown at Bayonetta 3, she's really upset in it. Yeah, and so I'm very worried. Do you think you'd ever play Bayonetta?
Yeah, I might. Now that it's like...
I can lend you mine when I'm done.
Yeah, cool.
Because,
it makes me sad that, like... But I want to get one as well, because one's a download code.
Oh, yeah, shit.
Yeah.
They'll be stuck in my system. It costs €30 in the store as well.
Okay.
That's a bit much.
It makes me, like... I don't like the idea of paying €30 for a game that isn't even graphically updated in any way.
No, like, it doesn't look very... I wasn't very impressed by it.
Okay. But yeah, it's such a, like, people love it enough that I think I might. And I need something with a vague semblance of narrative.
Yeah. No, like, it's got a good story. And like, if you like Devil May Cry, it's got the same, like, it feels very much like a Devil May Cry game.
I like Devil May Cry, but I'm never good at them. That's my problem.
Yeah.
With these, I'm crap at combat.
I'm really, really bad at Bayonetta as well. Usually I'll just play on normal, and then if I like a level, I'll go back and I'll play it on a better difficulty, but I'll kind of learn the level. And I'll do the set pieces better, and it'll feel more rewarding. It does feel good doing it that way, but it's definitely a score attack game. That's pretty much how it's designed. And you can play it on touchscreen as well, and the touchscreen actually kind of works really well.
How do you play it on touchscreen?
You just tap the enemies.
Okay.
It's actually pretty intuitive. And the first and second Bayonetta game are both touchscreen on the Switch.
That's nuts. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah. Like, it's cool that they have that option.
Is touching it a heavy attack, a light attack? Just anything, just a chain combo?
Yeah, you're just chaining combos.
That's funny. It's Quicktime Events. I wrote down pretty much all the news.
Yeah, no, I was looking at them.
This is real Niamh news.
It's okay.
Sleeping Dogs film starring Donnie Yen confirmed.
Excellent. Yeah.
My man Donnie Yen posted a picture on Instagram of him looking pretty beat up next to a picture of Wei Shen from the game Sleeping Dogs, and he was like, "Good things take time. Sleeping Dogs is coming." And I'm just so excited for it. I love Donnie Yen. I love Sleeping Dogs. It's just a match made in heaven. Sleeping Dogs is like this corny GTA-like game.
Yeah, that was based on the True Crimes games that got cancelled and then got redeveloped by another studio. I love this game.
It's set in
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, and you play as an undercover cop between the triads and the cops, and you can kind of get cop points or triad points, and it just has the most perfect set pieces for a really good Fast and Furious-esque action film.
Yeah, and I do like that game isn't focused on gunplay, but it's more melee based, so it's very rare that you get a gun in that game. Most of the time you're fighting like bare hands, or you have a knife, or you're using the environment to trigger like specific cutscenes, like how it's done in the Yakuza games.
When you level up, you go to your dojo and you train, and you're leveling up your martial arts skill. So it's it will translate perfectly into a Donnie Yen film. Yeah.
Oh, I really like the carjacking in those games, so I hope that's in the film, where there is an option to carjack by climbing out onto the roof of the car, jumping to the roof of another car, and carjacking a car that way, all mid-drive in the middle of a highway.
There's some really corny scenes. There's
a funeral gone wrong.
There's a funeral. There's a huge shootout at a funeral, and it's one of those funerals where it's lashing rain, and there's a whole pile of black umbrellas, so it looks great. There's a shootout at a wedding, which is amazing as well. It's just, it's just big crazy set pieces where you're I hope a shootout doesn't happen, and then it does.
Do you know who I really hope is in the game? The old lady who's clearly a cannibal. She's like an old butcher lady, and the way they get rid of some of the bodies is they give the bodies to her. But she runs a butcher's, and they're like, "So what happens with the bodies?" And she's like, "It's tomorrow's meat."
Oh. Do you think they'll get Emma Stone to come back?
Oh yeah, she voiced it. No, she's too famous now.
Yeah, she's way too famous.
At the time, she'd only done Easy A and Superbad, so she was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll be in your game." So she did a couple lines, because she's not even in, okay, she's like a dating character, sort of. You just take her out on dates, and she's just American girl in Hong Kong trying to figure it out.
They could write her character in a bit more and have her in it. Not that I even want her there, but I think it would be cool just to have someone from the main cast in again.
Yeah, because she is famous. Who knows? She might love Sleeping Dogs.
Yeah,
she might be "Can I be in the film? I'll do it for free."
I hated La La Land and have nothing going on.
Yeah.
I'll do this film for you. Part of me would is the guy who played Wei Shen in the game is an actor called Will Young Lee, And like he did the mocap for his face and everything. So part of me is kind of like, I wish they got him, but I can totally understand why you would go for Donnie Yen because
I think if Donnie Yen's available, like you have to say yes to him.
yeah. And it's like I don't think that film would get made if it wasn't Donnie Yen in it.
Yeah. Yeah, because like he's a pretty big deal in martial arts films.
And just being in Rogue One, it's really like thrown him into the limelight in a bigger way.
Yeah, I know video game films get a lot of shit. This could be one of the good ones.
Yeah, and even if it's not, it's probably going to be still good.
Yeah, like I think it'll be as good as a Resident Evil movie, and and I think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Niamh, what's this about Kingdom Hearts 3?
There was a Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer that dropped at D23 in Japan, the Disney Expo in Japan.
Yeah.
And it shows a whole pile of new locations.
Mostly Pixar films.
Yeah. Well, not new. The only new one is Monsters Inc. World.
Yeah.
Did you watch this?
I just saw screen grabs of them as monsters. I don't really want to get involved with Kingdom Hearts, if that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's the right move.
I think it's just one of those things where it's like, that's cool. I'm going to be over here. I don't even want to hold the box in a GameStop. I just don't want to get involved in it. I think it's better. It's like Scientology. I just don't want to get involved. I don't even want to make fun of it. It's not fair.
I've played 3 games. I don't know what the hell's happening. But I think loads of people saw this and they're like, I don't really care what's happening. I want to play the Pixar game stuff. And it's gonna, I guess, do that well.
Well, like I guess on a PS4 they could do a pretty good job doing Pixar level real time.
This is such a petty complaint, but I really hate all the Sora designs for all these worlds that they've shown. It's like when Sora goes into a new world, he gets like his
a costume based on that
yeah, he gets
world.
a costume,
and so do Goofy and Donald, do they? Okay.
Yeah. But for the Monsters Inc. world, he's kind of looks like a Cheshire cat or just a cat furry, but with a red fringe.
Perfect.
I think that looks kind of crappy, and I really don't like his action figure design
for when he's a toy.
Yeah, for when he's in Woody and Buzz's world.
It'd be better if he was like a little Playmobil character.
Oh, I think they just could have made him look more like a toy. A toy of him exists. Just make him a ball jointed one, but it kind of looks like a weird Lego thing. What was really important about this for me personally was there was also a second trailer which had an Utada Hikaru song. And this has the possibility of being recorded like 10 years ago. Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in like 2005.
It could have been like a video that was only used internally and they commissioned the song from her.
Yeah, because she tweeted afterwards, she was just like, oh, finally you get to hear a half of my song. I might leak it myself.
How old is she now?
48, I think. Or
yeah, she's
38. No, it must be 38. She's not 48.
I thought she was 48. I thought she was nearly 50.
No.
She's been around for a very long time.
She has, but I think she's just been performing since she was like super young.
I think my favorite songs by her are the ones at the end of Evangelion. I think it's 2.0 has her at the end, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really
She's 35.
She's 35.
Yeah. No, she's amazing. But she has a song at the end of this one. And I like how the English lyrics are basically her going, hey, this could be a dream. Maybe it's a dream. Maybe Kingdom Hearts is a dream.
That'd be great if they just said it was all a dream at the end.
I don't know how do you finish off that game without
it just wakes up with a 12-year-old boy and he's like, oh man, I slept in and the school bus is outside. And then he jumps on a skateboard and grinds it down the stair banister. And the mom is like, Billy! And he's like, shut up, Mom, I don't love you anymore. And then like it says, see you soon in Kingdom Hearts 4. They're just anything.
They could do anything. They could do a total Lost on it. They could do whatever they want at this stage because none of it makes sense. And like
it shows his bedroom for a second and he's got plush toys of guess who?
Goofy and Donald.
Bugs and Daffy. Do you get it?
And he's playing a Final Fantasy game on his PlayStation 1.
He's playing on his PSP. Never forget.
I know for a fact they're going to have the Final Fantasy 15 boys in it. Totally. and they're gonna. This is my prediction. They're gonna be going through the world, and Sora's gonna bump into them, and they're gonna be looking for Noctis, and Sora's gonna be like, "I'm also looking for a friend. I'm looking for my friend Riku," and they're gonna mistake Noctis for Riku and Riku for Noctis.
Do they have the same hair?
Yeah, Riku got a costume update, and he has the same haircut, just the entire same silhouette as Noctis. It's boots with shorts with like an open jacket and a shirt.
Who's the guy with the car key?
That's Riku. That's
him.
Yeah.
I saw a photo of him where he's holding a car key. Is that his keyblade?
Yeah.
He just has someone's keys to their car.
I think they could have the regalia as a summon in it as well. That's the car from 15, so it all leads back into itself.
Very clever. Mm-hmm. The flying car, everyone.
This game, this is gonna be insane. But hey, we're never else. Like, where else are we gonna have a Pirates of the Caribbean world in a Disney game?
Do you think it'll come out this year?
Yeah, they said at the end of the trailer it was a 2018.
Okay, so November 2018 probably.
Yeah.
Just in time for Christmas.
Totally.
Okay, cool. You should get it if you want to, or don't. Or maybe your girlfriend will get it and you can just watch her play it and be like, oh, good for you.
I'm glad you like this.
Yeah, I'm glad someone's happy about everything that's happened in this game. Oh, yeah. Vampyr gets a release date.
This is the Don't Nod game.
Are these the guys that made Life is Strange, or am I mistaken?
Yeah, no, that's them.
So, is this another, game in the same style as...
It is, and it isn't.
And it's about vampires.
It's about vampires, and instead of, a tween lesbian girl, it's about an adult vampire man in Victorian England. So I guess it's kind of...
It's just a different kind of lesbian. It's the same thing, Niamh.
But what it does have the same is it has a morality thing, questions kind of thing. It's a story-driven game where you get to make choices. And
it's coming out this year? Or
yeah.
The first episode is?
June 5th.
Okay, cool, yeah.
I don't know if it's episodic. It might be just a full game, but it could be episodic.
I'd do it episodic. It worked for the last game.
Yeah. The thing that looks strange in this, not strange, the thing I'm a little worried about in it is I don't think you could say that Life is Strange has the best gameplay.
No, the camera's too zoomed in a lot of the time. You don't really get to appreciate the world sometimes.
Yeah, it's playing it is especially the first one, Before the Storm. Yeah, it's kind of janky. This is looks like it is proper combat. You're going behind someone, they have a green health bar, you're doing a takedown move on them. You're fighting people.
Okay.
I don't know how they're going to pull that off because I haven't seen them do that before.
It'll probably be as good as the combat in Hellblade: Sending a Sacrifice, which was serviceable.
Yeah.
But boring after a while.
Yeah, I hope it's not a case where we're kind of...
It's probably going to
get through the combat to get to the story.
It's going to be you in a room and there's 4 of them and you have to defeat all 4. And then another 4 show up and you defeat those 4, and then a big one shows up and you have to defeat that. Then you get a bit of a cutscene. That could be the game. Maybe the vampires will have nice outfits.
They do. There's very long coats.
Yeah. I hope the voice acting isn't cringy.
Probably.
I think there are vampires in Dublin. I think if you went to the right nightclub, ask the right person. It's just like buying ecstasy. I just think if you're in the right place at the right time, I think you can get a good deal for a good time.
You know all those Real Stories documentaries on YouTube?
Yeah.
They cover these teen vampires who really, really believe it.
Oh, but they're just like the kids who are into blood culture and stuff, aren't they?
What do you mean just into blood culture?
I know, they're into okay, well
just vampires.
Well, no, they like having fresh blood from either their mouth or their neck.
Is that a culture?
Oh yeah,
Is that a good one to be into?
Good, that's better than football. I don't know.
Is it?
It's better than skateboarding. Come on.
Let's bleed on each other? I don't think so.
No, they're not bleeding on each other. They just got a little bit of blood going on.
Oh no, these vampires they were teen vampires and they were we like to drink each other's blood.
Are they pricking their fingers and
yeah
okay, and they're going through each other's windows at night?
Probably. They're just.
There's
it
a lot
seems
of breaking
they just
and
meet
entering.
up at clubs and kind of cut their fingers and just That's it.
Well, okay, maybe don't cut yourself, but also you could be doing way worse than that. At least you have each other.
Yeah, I mean, vampires are about family.
Yeah, but like, yeah, they are. But I think vampire culture like peaked around 2011. Like, I think it was up and coming for like 2010, 2009. You know, like around then. But then like, it's over now, and now we're just left with the 50 Shades movies, and they're not very funny.
Do you think that's what the modern vampire movie is a 50 Shades movie?
Yeah.
Is that where, like, because like I used to love stuff like Queen of the Damned.
Oh yeah. What's her name? Anne Rice.
Yeah.
She's great. She's still going, but I think she like dismisses a lot of that stuff now. She's like, that was just shit I wrote in the 80s and 90s.
She wrote a lot of shit.
Yeah, she wrote a lot of shit, but she was like, that was just like fucking pop music chasing on a trend.
Aaliyah was in that movie. She was like the queen vampire.
That was the last thing she did, because she was also in the Romeo Must Die film with Jet Li.
That's a good movie.
She was in really cool movies at the turn of the millennium. I think we should do an Aaliyah special podcast.
I would like that. Yeah. I'm going to play like the Romeo Must Die track at the end of this. It's such a good song, and she looks so cool in that video. Yeah, she's brilliant. Rest in peace, Aaliyah. Anyway, Aaliyah's cool. Yeah, and so is Vampyr, and we will both be playing it. Okay, Niamh, this is a game that kind of is very personal to you, but also not at all, because oh my god. Fear Effect is back. Yay? Oh, yeah. This is the lesbian game, but isn't. It's a male gaze lesbian game, is it? Yeah, it came out in like, I think the first one was in 99, and then the second one was 2001. And it was this game that used lesbians at the forefront of its marketing. There's two characters called Hannah and Rain, and there's literally one scene in the game, and it's like they're trying to get past security personnel. So they go into an elevator where there's cameras, and Rain starts coming on to Hannah, and I think Hannah's just like, what are you doing? And she's just like, go along with it. And then it literally goes to another screen, so you're watching them not just through your own screen, but through a second screen that's being watched by security guards, and it's just this whole... Okay, so it's his sexy lesbian fantasy. Yeah, and they're like, come look at this. And that was the only content in the game that was gay, and they had this huge marketing thing push. Of the two girls in bikinis on top of each other. Yeah, with them all together. Yeah, just draped all over each other, or pinning one pinning the other down. So this is a PS2 game that's getting re-released on the PS4? Yeah, not getting a re-release, it's getting a new game. Like it's a sequel. And it's going to be cel-shaded like the other two? It kind of looks like it. It's more, this seems way more top-down than the other one. Is it like a third-person shooter action game? Yeah. Are they good? No. Well, like the PlayStation 2 ones were PlayStation 2 games. So like, so they're good for that era. Yeah. It's probably as good as like Bubsy 3D, but a bit better, but like, come on. It's like... It's just unnecessary. I don't think it's a game that anyone wanted to come back in any capacity, but here it is. I was really not happy with the new trailer, because I was like, maybe things will have changed. Maybe there's better representation now. Who knows? The trailer opens with the two girls doing this nearly kiss, and then it cuts to some smoking, some guys with guns. Like, it's just like, oh, we've got it all. We've got like bullets and lesbians. And it's like, oh, come on. Did you like these games when you were younger? I read a lot of fan fiction about the characters, because there was no games. Like, I liked it because I was like, oh, cool. Okay, because you know how there's that anime Citrus out this year, or this season? Mm-hmm. And, like, that's like a very famous Yuri, but it's also... the worst. But it's like hentai, isn't it? Or is it hentai, or is it just kind of trash? It's fucking trash. So. Okay, but the idea of that is that it's all you had, and you just had to like treasure it, even though it's shitty. You develop a fondness for like bad representation because it's the only representation. Yeah, it's a bit like blaxploitation that way, where it's like it doesn't work anymore in this like era, and like it's kind of done for like parody, but it was very important that it existed. Yeah, it was just like, yeah, these were like the villains. These were just shit characters that had to suffer, but you were just like, or it was just literally for like, hey guys, we're gonna kiss, and it's just like, I guess this is what I have. I guess you're my favorite characters now, and I love you, and I'm very invested in your relationship. So that sucks.
You get the McDonald's of like the shitty gourmet meal.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I guess this is what we have.
Something a bunch of weird old men picked.
Just like someone's idea of what you are.
Yeah, it's not good. Well, I'm glad Life is Strange exists.
Yes, me too. But it's back.
Yeah. What else is back? I'm looking at this and it says Devil May Cry trilogy gets a HD re-release. This already got a HD release on the 360 and PS3. I know because I bought it.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, these games belong in the PS2 era. Especially after playing Bayonetta.
I don't think they've done anything more with them either.
Yeah, I think this is just Capcom, because you know how Capcom do the the Mega Man Legacy Collection, and the most recent announcement is that they're porting the 1 and 2 of that collection to the Switch, which is cool. I think Capcom are just like, well, we have all this old IP, and there are these new consoles, and we haven't released it on these new consoles, so let's do it again. That's all it is. It's Capcom just trying not to become a pachinko fucking machine.
It sucks though, like, because I think people, if they like did a Shadow Colossus on these, people would go nuts for those games.
Yeah,
again.
I think it'd be cool, and they could do like even more like crazier set pieces, do like a completely new soundtrack from the ground up. I don't know, just like, but like have the original music but have it re-recorded in a new style. Yeah, like it's cool it's coming out again. I'm sure that's for someone. Okay, let's do some emails. Let's do this first one that's personally addressed to me from Alyssa, who's emailed us before. And
Elsa,
I'm so sorry. I'm very sorry. Okay. This is because I do a lot of the social media stuff, but I was posting on Instagram and on Twitter screenshots from Shadow of Colossus. This is a question, I'm not going to read out the email, but this is just a question about photo mode and taking pictures in video games, and it was very, very interesting because it was a nice platform to jump off on. This is the first time I've ever taken photos in a video game, was in Shadow of Colossus. Mainly it was because it's a beautiful looking game, but the photo mode in that game is very simple because it's a very, very simple game button wise, but they've assigned that you just press down on the D-pad and it pauses the game. And it's like the Matrix and Bullet Time, where you can swing the camera wherever you want and you can pick any composition you want, readjust the blurring and put filters on top just like you do on Instagram, and then you just press the share button on the PS4 controller and you got your screenshot. But this is the first time I've ever played in a video game taking photographs, and I think it was the reason why I did it was because that's such a stop and smell the roses kind of game, where you have a mission ahead of you, but there's all these lovely distractions along the way, and there's no kind of HUD constantly reminding you that you need to go this way. And because it's spaced out quite a lot between you and your goal, that you have time to explore, you have time to go, oh, there's something over here I want to look at. And you will go over there and all of a sudden you go, this actually looks really nicely framed in the game. I wonder if I can like push it like 10% more and get a nice screenshot out of it. A lot of those screenshots that I took are just like bits of the game that I was playing where I was like, hang on, this looks really cool, and I'll pause it for a second, took a photo. But then she was saying that it was in Horizon Zero Dawn. I didn't even know it was in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Really?
But the thing is, the way I was playing that game was that I never really thought about taking a photo. I never really thought about, wow, this bit's so breathtaking, I should take a photo.
Do you not just screenshot everything?
No.
I'm constantly screenshotting.
Yeah. But like for me, with Shadow of Colossus, I was screenshotting like in a way that wasn't just Like, it was just because I like getting characters and backgrounds and putting it together and making a nice composition. But I guess with something like Horizon Zero Dawn, you're constantly getting reminded of waypoints, and a lot of the missions you get are very short form. You end up getting too focused on them, and you kind of forget about the aesthetic sometimes.
I think, like, for me, like when I'm playing a game, half of it is taking photos of the game.
Yeah.
Like, there's a photo mode in Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah.
I had just so much fun with that as well, just rotating the camera, or just like doing an animation, like throwing someone off a bridge.
And is this the thing where like it pauses the game?
Yeah,
pausing, and you can swing the camera wherever you want.
And just rotating it around, and like there's this guard, like it's so fun. Photo mode should be in absolutely every game.
Do you know what other game that we both played has photo mode, and I never considered it?
What?
Super Mario Odyssey.
I took loads of photos of Mario.
I never did, because that game is so short form. Walk 10 meters, get a moon. Walk another 10 meters, get a moon. You never have a chance to stop and appreciate the game.
I was so bored with the game, I spent ages taking photos. So I would do stuff like I would get on the scooter and launch Mario off the side of a building, and then like just while he was in the air take a photo of him. Yeah. But that photo mode is kind of a shitty photo mode. It's not great. The filters are bad, and it's kind of hard to rotate around the characters. It
is. I didn't know about, like, I completely forgot it existed until the very end, and I saw someone online and post the photos, and I was like, how are they getting such? Oh yeah, there's a photo mode, and I didn't know how to do it. You need to click in the right stick to do it, which is good. That's quick enough to do, but it didn't have anything interesting to take a photo of.
Yeah,
I just think it depends on how interesting the game is.
I got a really good one of Mario doing a T-pose on the moon.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
He's just, there he is, loading into the moon area.
Felt very Evangelion-esque.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think a lot of the time when games are boring, you can make your own little narratives from photo mode.
Oh yeah. It'd be cool if RiME had a photo mode, because afterwards when I was playing RiME, I wanted the screenshots and bits, because it is a beautiful looking game. But I do love that, like, freezing time and swinging the camera wherever you want. It is cool if it's in future games.
What games would you like to go back and have a photo mode for?
I wish Breath of the Wild had a proper one. Just because that's such a great looking game. Like you've got a camera and you can take selfies in it, but there are just some like moments in that game because you get so many personal bits in it just because of all the weapons you use and how it works out on some like sneaking mission at a base camp or whatever. That something crazy might happen and you could pause the game mid-explosion. I think you get some funny like bits of enemies like flying all over the place. From older games, I guess, like I don't know if there's anything 2D wise. Like most of the time, it just looks like like it'd be cool if you could, like it'd be cool if it in like Sonic Mania you could pause that game and you could like swing the camera around and you could see it in like 2.5D or something.
That'd be cool.
They had it in Smash Brothers actually, where if you pause Smash Brothers, it would just pause it mid-action and then you could move the camera around in the pause menu and you could take snapshots that way. I think that was the first game where I kind of saw it as a feature.
I can't remember which Tekken had it, but a few of the Tekkens have had it, and I used to use that as like drawing reference.
Oh yeah.
Because you'd get like a cool like punch animation and someone obviously reacting to it. And like that's what I use the photo modes now, even on the PS4, if I'm like, oh, I want, like, it's a good reference.
It'd be cool if it was in Nier.
Oh, I love it in Nier.
Yeah, I'd take in any Platinum game, especially Nier Automata, because that's such a great game just for pausing bits. Like, yeah, like there is some cool NPCs you meet, but there are just other bits where you're like, you could be just jumping midair. You could do some great compositions that way.
And with Nier, some of the backgrounds are in such a way that you're kept really at arm's length. You can't really get in close and see what's going on. So I'd love to be able to just move the camera around that world and kind of get in a little closer.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail in that game that you could just pause and pay attention to. I definitely think fighting games is one of the best examples. Like in the Arc System Work games, like the Dragon Ball Fighter Z or in Guilty Gear, I think both of those would be great just because they are proper 3D rendered games. You could do it.
There's meant to be a video, like The Switch has a photo button, like a dedicated
Yeah, it's got a snapshot button.
And they said for ages that they were going to introduce video.
Yeah, I think the idea is that you're going to be able to hold it down and capture 15-second clips or something, 30-second clips, which is something the PS4 does.
Yeah.
Oh no, the PS4 is constantly saving 15 minutes to the hard drive, and you can just tell it to just isolate, you know, the last 7 minutes or whatever, if you're quick enough.
But yeah, photo mode. We both love it.
Yeah. I am going to try it more often now. Just because it's cool, especially with the podcast. Hey, we're playing this game. Look how cool it looks.
Or what I even like doing is like when you're playing a third-person game, is like getting your character up close to the wall and getting the camera caught on a piece of geometry so you can kind of see your character's face up close and taking a screenshot then.
Just some dude leaning against the wall. Okay, and then the second email is from Cassidy, who asks, "Are you even Irish?"
No.
I've been listening to your older episodes recently, and it's honestly pretty impressive how much you guys know about American culture. You even know our super secret slang for dollars. Yeah, we do. As a Seattle resident, I spend most of my Windy Susans on rent. Don't we all? My question is, are you guys even Irish? All you talk about is American movies, American TV, American video games, etc. Is there anything about you besides your accent that makes you Irish? Can you speak Gaelic? What are some things about Irish culture that are different from American culture? Okay. There's a common culture, especially around people our age in Ireland, that we are very dismissive, almost self-hating over our nationality and culture, just because it's so backwards and riddled in religious bullshit. Growing up, we had 4 Irish television channels. Actually, only 2. Then we got 3. Then we got a 4th. One is completely in Irish, not Gaelic Irish or Oscuelga, as it is in Irish, but we're going to speak Osberla, which is in English. I don't know where the word Gaelic. Yeah, like, I've never said.
That's such an American thing to say that we speak like Gaelic.
You guys speak Gaelic?
It's like it's Irish.
Yeah, it's Irish. We didn't have a lot of options. A lot of Irish TV shows are kind of lame, so we got a lot of imports from the UK and America.
There isn't, it's like, even when they're lame, there isn't even a lot of them.
Yeah, you get 6 episodes or something, that's it.
We've
the whole
one
season.
major broadcaster, and it doesn't really do a lot of funding for Irish original content. So
especially
what it
not
does,
animation.
Yeah, all our cartoons were either French or American.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to more live action stuff, we don't have a lot of that either. All these other channels, which is all just American TV and English TV.
Yeah.
And your whole identity and culture is built around those.
Yeah, we just understand and like just sort of accept American humor. Like I think we all grew up watching The Simpsons, which was very important. So we understand a lot of American humor. It's cool as well working in animation because you work on a lot of American shows, and none of the jokes get lost in translation because we understand the comedy beats of American humor.
But even like as Irish people working in the Irish animation industry, we don't really work on Irish stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think a lot of it is passion projects if it is Irish, or sometimes it could even be too Irish that you kind of roll your eyes at it and you're like, oh, I don't know about, I wouldn't be comfortable, I wouldn't be proud of working on that. Or
that's the problem as well, because there's so little funding put into things. Some of the stuff that do get funding are very Irish.
Yeah, they're very on the nose.
It's very like, you know, the famine or the countryside, and isn't it bleak?
There's a famine movie like coming out next week.
And that's super frustrating as a young creator, because it's like, yeah, cool, that's our history, but it's also like, I don't have any lived experience of this. Like, that is not what it means to me to be an Irish person in Ireland. Yeah,
like, it's something I really like about shows like Broad City and all that, because it's just about like, oh, they're just growing up against their background. I'd love more Irish shows. Like, I think that new show Derry Girls is meant to be kind of like that.
Yeah.
That's meant to be brilliant because it's just like, it could take place in any part of the world with the same cast of characters. It's just against the backdrop of growing up in 90s Northern Ireland.
And that's cool. Like, we do not get that stuff. Like, our longest running Irish TV show is probably Fair City.
Yeah, and that's like,
It's a soap opera.
Yeah, it's a soap opera. So what's like the big days of our lives is like a real soap opera in America. But like it's just
and like we have our late night hosts and stuff like that, but they're kind of,
they have zero charisma. And even the best Irish TV hosts the show in the UK. Graham Norton is like the best. I love Graham Norton, and he's from Cork in the south of Ireland, and like he's someone I'd be very, very proud of. But he's a BBC British television TV host. And even like with our own listener base, I think 5% of our listeners are Irish. I just love that like a huge amount of our listeners are American. It means a lot, just because we love American media. So it's cool to be in some ways part of American media if we're being downloaded as a podcast in America. I think that's really, really interesting. I think it's really cool. I think the most successful Irish people are successful abroad. I think if you're successful internally, that's a tiny market, because the Irish population on the actual island is very small, and then you have to divide that by the amount of people who watch TV, and then divide that even more and more. Like here we don't really like U2, or we kind of just think they're lame. They're just a bunch of rich guys that don't pay their taxes, but they're a huge export out of Ireland that sell out shows all over the world, which is great and all. But here in Ireland we're just like and that kind of rolls back into the self-hating culture. Like I feel if there was another video game podcast made in Ireland, we'd probably be kind of like dismissive of them.
Do you think?
I'd be like, I don't know, kind of did it first.
I guess we'd have a competitive edge, but I'm also very like into people being creative.
Yeah.
But I'm also
I kind of into people being creative, maybe over there.
Yeah.
not here where we're being creative. That's so stupid. I just think we're very territorial people. Just because all we got is this little island, but we did such a great job of like spreading our ancestry. Also, I guess we're just like descendant from like I'm 100% Irish. I really wish I had like different genealogy from other like nations. Like, oh, maybe I'm like 10% Spanish or something like that. But I know I'm 100% Irish, and I like descended from mud people who lived under trees.
Yeah.
Like just bunch of fucking potato eating, famine dwelling losers.
That's so harsh.
I know, but
I think there's this thing with
it's cool
Irish
we rose
culture.
out of that.
Yeah, but like there's a thing with Irish culture where there's like this kind of like there's this bit, there is this bit of self-loathing to it as well. And I think like that I'm trying to really unlearn that.
Yeah.
As a thing, because I don't like I like Ireland.
Yeah, no, I'm really like I love living in Ireland. I think we do. There's so much bullshit, but then sometimes we get stuff right, like the smoking ban and things like that.
It's just frustrating because in Ireland itself, it does not treat creative people great.
No.
But we know so many great creatives, and it's just very frustrating to have that not acknowledged within your own space.
Yeah, and we're going through a weird political phase at the moment where hopefully there's a bit of a divide in the country between two different generations. Mm-hmm. And it kind of sucks when you go back home to see older relatives that they have a different value to you. And it's just, it sucks.
Your media is also Irish media. We're an English-speaking island that exists on imports.
Yeah, and we are going to do our best to provide you with some form of media back. We're just going to give it back.
Yeah, we're going to give you Irish culture back. Yeah,
sometimes I'll speak Irish. I did it in today's episode. I do think the biggest difference between American humor and Irish humor is okay, it's the sarcasm, but it's the cynicism. Mm-hmm. I think American sarcasm and parody is much more optimistic. Ours is very, very dismissive and self-deprecating.
I think sometimes I don't know if everyone gets when we're joking or not.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We got an email before being like, it's not funny to joke that the moon landing didn't happen. And like that was just like, to me that was such an obvious joke.
Yeah,
but to someone else it was like a real like pointed like, that's not cool. Yeah,
but like to us that's just us joking around on a Friday evening. Like it's just like most of the time we're not being serious. I know this is probably like the most serious episode we've ever done just because John isn't here and we're not taking the piss out of him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, John, we know you're listening to this episode, and hello John.
Hi John. John, we don't know how to do this.
Yeah. This is the most serious episode. I know I'm really enjoying this episode. I think we'll get some nice emails back where it's like, yeah, okay, this wasn't what I was expecting, but the formula was alright. Thanks.
Can we speak Irish? Is the other question.
Yeah, we can understand Irish. We are taught Irish in school from like the age of 5 all the way to the age of like 18, 19. You're taught Irish. And I really, really enjoyed learning Irish and the history of Irish, and I absolutely agree that it should be preserved and be part of our culture. I love that every sign in Ireland is translated in English and Irish. I think that's incredibly important. But then on the other side of it, getting tested on Irish can be a bit of a pain in the ass, especially if you're bad at languages. I'm terrible at languages. I felt whenever I got like a bad grade in Irish, I was like disappointing my country.
I have no speaking Irish whatsoever.
None.
I just I'm not good at languages at all, so learning it never clicked with me.
Yeah, like it's such a nice language. It is like very heavily ingrained in religion. Like saying hello to someone in Irish is diagwit, which means God be with you. So like, and I would never mention God to any of my friends ever because it's just not something I'm interested. Like none of us are really interested in religion, but it's such a religious and holy language.
Even just like a lot of the like colloquialisms we'll say are steeped in religion. Like I think a lot of us will go Jesus Christ and like
Janie Mackers.
Yeah, and like or like
Jesus.
bless you or something like that. And it's just like I don't actually mean that in any other sense other than it's come out of my mouth because it does it.
I don't know if I recommended it before, but you know Danny O'Dwyer's YouTube channel, what's it called?
No Clip.
No Clip. But he has one where he meets Player Unknown, the guy who made Battlegrounds. But they're just two Irish guys talking to each other and they're constantly liking, like. And it's just Irish banter back and forth. That's so fucking common.
There's a cool thing about Irish, like...
The Cork way of saying no to something that someone asks you to do. Like, hey, could you take me in, or could you help me take in the shopping? Cork person would go, I will, yeah. But that means no. Because you're just like, it's such a weird fucking cultural thing. But like, you know, if you said that to American, they'd be like, oh, great, thanks.
Like, oh.
It's like, no, oh, shit. I was being really dismissive. But that's kind of thing that, like, because you like Chris O'Dowd. Mm-hmm. I fucking hate that dude.
I like it.
Oh, he just looks like a fucking ripe potato. And he's like, fiddly diddly do, Chris O'Dowd, diddly idle
but
fiddly do.
I think he plays like he does Irish, like in a very genuine Irish way, I think.
Did you like Father Ted growing up?
Yeah.
I think to all the American listeners out there who don't know what Father Ted is, fucking just search Father Ted on YouTube. It's a sitcom about these 3 priests and their like house lady living in a parish house in the middle of nowhere on this shitty island, and it's a sitcom and it's done like a proper sitcom, but it's just it's a sitcom about priests. Mm-hmm. And they only made like 30 episodes of it, and it's the weirdest fucking show, and it's like over 20 years old now,
and it's so good.
Yeah, and it's just, but it was a UK TV production because like you could not make this on Irish soil.
Yeah, Ireland wouldn't fund it.
No, but it's so fucking funny. It's made by the guy who made the IT Crowd and Black Books. So if you've ever watched the IT Crowd, which I'm sure a lot of you have because we're shown on Adult Swim and stuff over in America, but you should watch Father Ted because that's the original. What's his name? Graham Linehan. It's Graham Linehan's the creator of that show. But this is like the first thing he made, and it starred a bunch of Irish comedians, most of whom have died now, which is a shame. And the other actors don't really like to be associated with it more because it was so kind of ingrained in Irish culture here that it was all they were known for. Yeah,
it's the biggest like Irish culture thing. Like if you want to have if you want to know what Irish humor was for like people mine and Brian's age and older, it's Father Ted.
Yeah, it's such an important show, and it's just like, because I think growing up we all had like a priest would come to our school and like tell us about like don't be a sinner and respect God, but then you also kind of saw them at like public events, like sporting events, and you'd kind of see them and they'd want to play football but they couldn't because they had to be like holy and spiritual.
Man. different experience. I went to a convent in a really small, super Catholic town, and like the
with
priests,
with the nuns and all.
yeah, the priests and the nuns were like celebrities there. Like you would get the fuck out of their way. They ruled the whole area.
They just do whatever they want.
Yeah,
because they get like funding from the town.
it's like all the town's money was attached to these the convent.
Because they have to get a new roof. They don't need to get a new roof. They're just paying for a new car or something. It's a whole fucking joke. But then, like, even like 20 years ago, you couldn't say that shit because like someone's like grandmother would be so offended if you talk smack about a priest. God, it's such a different time now. Yeah, it's shit like that makes you kind of like go, yeah, Ireland is kind of dumb.
Yeah, it really is fucking dumb. But there's like such a generation of cool, creative people that are, and it's changing rapidly. And I don't know if Ireland's ready for it in some.
More of those old people die, the better.
I think like Ireland went from being like really Catholic to really atheist super quickly.
Oh yeah, and I think a lot of that was like lapsed Catholic, where people were like, they still wrote down they were Catholic on the census, even though they hadn't gone to mass in like a decade. But they were like, no, I'm still Catholic because one of our kids is doing the communion next week.
Yeah, you have to like get your communion and baptized to get into schools here.
Yeah, especially to a good school. It's such a weird, like...
Religion is really tied up with education here.
Yeah. So you learn a lot about you're going to go to hell, you're going to be a sinner.
Do you want to draw Jesus on the cross over and over again?
Yeah, like, you know how a lot of, like, because, yeah, like, I think for both of us with animation, we both loved, like, arts and crafts in school. But a lot of that, and I guess that even was with the Renaissance, is that, like... If you want to draw, you have to draw J-Dog on the crucifix. I remember one day they asked us to draw God. Those people were drawing like the big dude with the white beard, but I was like, nah, man. And I drew a cloud with a happy face because I was like, nah, like this will look cute. And the priest was like, I see what you're going for. That's what God would stand on. I was like, no, like he's like...
That's what Goku stands on, idiot.
Yeah, like, come on, this is really funny. And look, he's got a lightning bolt coming out of him because he's smiting those people. He's causing a flood. And the priest was like, maybe not that bit. And I was like, but we just learned about that bit in the Bible. Oh, they're so fucking selective.
Yeah, they're so selective. And it's just like, hey, draw the crucifixion, and then you draw it, and they're like, no, not in that much blood, like the nice version of the crucifixion. Yeah. And you're like, okay, cool, I'll clean that up a little. Yeah, he's too tortured. You just give him a bit more dignity. Give him a smile.
Yeah, like he's having a great time.
So all our early drawing experience came from drawing the Stations of the Cross. Yeah.
Or you know how every February you go for a school tour, but you go like wreath picking to make St. Bridget's Cross. Do you remember doing that? And it'd be like bunch of 9-year-olds beside a river without any supervision, and one of them could fall into the river, and you're just like pulling out reeds to make a fucking like square cross. I know we're being very dismissive of a religion, and maybe that's not okay, but it's our religion, it's our experiences of that religion, so whatevs. You know that thing where the American is like, oh, I'm Irish, I'm like 1/4 Irish. And like, okay, dear listener, don't ever say that to an Irish person. You're American, and just, that's cool.
Yeah.
You're American. Unless you can like properly prove it, or if you think you're vaguely European. You are vaguely European, I'm sure you are, but you're American. Just don't try and do it. Also, I've never drank Guinness. Have you ever drank Guinness?
I love Guinness.
You like Guinness?
Sorry, yeah, I'm sorry for ruining that for you, but yeah, I like Guinness.
It's got a lot of iron in it. It's good for your blood. I like Jameson whiskey. That's Irish. Yeah, I've never had a Guinness in my life.
They're really good. You should get a Guinness.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, this is one last question because John isn't here, and we're probably going to wrap up in a sec. But who out of the three of us, between you, me, and John, is going to live the longest?
You see, you would bet John because John takes care of himself.
Yeah, but he's a bag of stress.
Yeah,
and he keeps fucking up.
He gets up. He has his like.
Yeah, like he is a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, he's a machine.
He's in peak performance.
But I think he will die first.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm sure John's listening to us going, yes, he's probably fucking up in LA right now. I can't wait to hear the stories in the next
You're
episode.
a wild card.
Yeah, I could. Like, I try to be king of the chill, which is good for the blood pressure and all that. I try to make the best decisions based on comfort rather than like achievement. Which is probably like living like a house cat, and house cats live a long time.
That's true.
Niamh, you walk on roads.
Yeah.
I think you're a bit of a wild card as well.
I know, but I'm really lucky.
You are very lucky, but so am I. I want a hamper today.
That is very lucky. We'll probably just die at the exact same moment.
That'd be great.
Maybe together.
Maybe at the end of this episode we will die together. And I know we're joking about, hey, Johnson, this podcast, but this is actually the last Queencast. Also, to all you guys complaining that like John should have been Queen, you guys don't get the joke. John will never be Queen.
The whole Let's Fight a Boss, we talk about it. It's a journey. Me and Bryan are the boss. John is the only player character.
Yeah, he's just some like chump that needs to get stronger.
He is the main default character, and he is going through it to try and beat me and Bryan. If he beat us at this stage, that's not a good game. He can't win yet.
John's Sora, and we're Donald and Goofy.
You don't know anything about Kingdom Hearts.
I do. Goofy's really strong. Have you not seen how ripped he is?
They're friends.
Gosh, Max, look at my pecs. I can't do a Donald Duck.
So this is the podcast.
Do you guys want to... Okay, loot drops.
Loot drop.
Okay, I'm looking at the docket here, and I'm not seeing no loot drop.
No, I have a loot drop. I was watching a video about Houseki no Kuni today by a YouTube...
This is your crystal anime?
Yeah, my crystal anime.
Is this an AMV?
No, he has a...
What is it? Is it like a critical analysis?
I'll link it. It's really cool. It's a cool analysis video about Houseki no Kuni based around the Buddhist elements in it.
Has he got a small YouTube channel?
He has one video and it's a crime.
Okay, I think everyone should watch this video. Oh my god. That wasn't us. Niamh, that wasn't us.
I don't know what that was.
It was a ghost. Oh Jesus. I hope John didn't leave a ghost behind. Okay, Niamh.
Shit, I'm so sorry.
Okay, this is like a 2-hour podcast.
I know, and I really need to pee.
Okay. All right. My loot drop is a podcast called A Very Fatal Murder.
Okay, cool.
Do you know about this?
No.
It's a true crime podcast. It is like 6 episodes long, and each episode is 10 minutes long. So the whole total length of this podcast is only 1 hour.
Okay, cool.
So you can listen to it one day, and you'll get everything you need out of it. It's a true crime podcast about a girl who was murdered in a small town in Nebraska, and the journalist who goes there to report on it and ends up living there for like 10 years and assimilates right into the town, and it's really, really good. I think anybody who's a fan of true crime podcasts, like I think if you've listened to other ones, this is like the next step. Okay, bye everyone.
Bye.
Without a dope beat, step 2, step 2, step 2, step 2, step 2, step 2. Pick it. It's been a long time. We shouldn't have left you. Without a dope beat, step 2, step 2, step 2, step 2, step 2. Pick it, baby girl.
What would you do to get to me? What would you say to have your way? Would you give up or try again? If I hesitate to let you in, now would you be yourself or play a role? Tell all the boys or keep it low. If I say no, would you turn away or play me off? Or would you stay up? First you don't succeed. Dust yourself off and try again. You can dust it off and try again, try again. Cause if at first you don't succeed, you can dust it off and try again. Dust yourself off and try again, try again. I'm into you into me, but I can't let it go so easily. Not till I see what this could be eternity or just a week. We know our chemistry is off the chain. It's perfect now, but will it change? This ain't a yes, this ain't a no. Just do your thing, we'll see how it goes. First you don't succeed, yeah. Dust yourself off and try again. You can dust it off and try again, try again. First you don't succeed, you can dust it off and try again, try again. Dust yourself off and try again, try again. So you don't wanna throw it all away. I might be shy on the first day, what about the next day?